Hello and welcome to the Reborn Fitness Podcast. I am your host, Timothy Horn, and welcome to another great interview. We have a lady who has created some seriously good products today that will help you with recovery, stress, everyday life, not over the counter, but natural, awesome products. Her name is Celine Ivari, the founder of WholyMe. So, without further ado, let's welcome her on. Celine, welcome to the Reborn Fitness Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Timothy. It's a pleasure to be on.
Well, let's just start. Celine, just tell some of the listeners about yourself. Who is Celine?
I am I'm a Persian. Originally, I'm Iranian. I'm one of five girls,
Wow.
and I'm a scientist by education. I studied genetics of human disease and human biology.
Okay.
And then I worked for big pharmaceutical companies for a while and then left that for my first entrepreneurial project, the launching the Mishkati Hair Center in London with my mother and my sisters,
Oh, nice.
which was a really wonderful experience.
Mm,
And then from that, from very personal experiences, I decided to launch WholyMe following, just witnessing how much stress and environment can have an impact on your well-being,
mm.
and witnessing how my mother's stressful lifestyle hindered her health, and felt like there needs to be a better way of handling everyday stresses, aches and pains in a holistic, more natural way. And so I set up WholyMe to do just that.
That's amazing. And growing up, what was the goal growing up, going through your education? Did you have an idea as to sort of the path you wanted to go? And did sport feature in that ever? Just talk to me about growing up and how that, was.
Honestly, I think just more globally about me growing up, I was always, having been one of five girls, I've always been part of a team. I've always
Mm,
grown up really close, and you just learn to be, less self-centered, more caring about people around you, more aware of what you do and how to give
mm,
back, and have that
mm.
team spirit, really. So that
Sure.
that was huge for me growing up.
Mm,
And I've always been interested in sciences, and
mm.
I've always been sort of this caring, nurturing human. And so actually growing up, I always thought I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh,
And so
okay.
that was my aspiration. But then I think something that sort of happened young and then revealed itself much later on was the aspect of pain management.
Okay.
And when I say that, I mean, in my late teen years, I had a herniated disc in my lower back,
Wow. Okay.
and that was extremely painful,
Yeah.
especially at such a young age.
Mm,
And you're the odd one out in class, where you can't sit for too long. You have to stand up because your back hurts, and
sure.
it was hindering me.
Yeah.
And I remember all the doctors I saw, they were saying the same thing, like, oh my God, you need surgery immediately. You
Mm,
need
mm,
corticosteroid injections. You need a
mm,
metal back brace. You need all these painkillers.
mm.
And sort of, you know, felt alarmed by all of that, and was
Sure.
like, no, I'm not going to pursue that route. It
Mm,
sounds a little bit too invasive for me.
yeah.
Um, so I really focused on just strengthening my core and
Yep.
taking a holistic approach to health. I did take painkillers and really witnessed just how bad those were for my stomach lining,
Sure.
and just I
Sure.
think they're not good for your long-term health. And then that's sort of the beginning, I think, the seed in my experience with
Yeah.
pain management, managing my own personal pain. And then my mother suffered from an autoimmune condition, which was
Okay.
extremely debilitating for a
Mm,
while. And I witnessed how, it's the environmental factors that would cause flare-ups or an increase in the severity of that pain, and
mm,
how all the medication that goes with that is quite, has side effects, and it's not very healthy.
mm.
And from my own studies, having studied genetics, I knew that your environment and the way you live your life has a huge impact on
Yeah.
your predisposition to conditions, on your odds of recovery, on everything.
Mm.
And I think that notion was extremely empowering. That understanding was extremely empowering. The fact that, yes, you are born with a set of predispositions, and
Sure.
you might be prone to certain things, but the way you lead your life can have an impact on
Yeah.
your predispositions.
And
And so from there, taking the holistic approach to health became sort of a no-brainer.
mm,
And I had this approach for myself, I had this approach for my mother. And that's when I started really digging deep into natural remedies and looking for solutions that are very natural, have no side effects, don't harm you in any way, but relieve everyday inherent stresses, aches, and pains. Because at the end of the day, these are aches, pains, stress, these are experienced by absolutely everyone, and
yeah.
they're not medical treatments.
No.
Yet people, turn to medical solutions for things that are inherent to your lifestyle. And then
Mm.
that felt contradictory. And I think that understanding at that point sort of was the big mission for WholyMe. It was, we need to rewire people's way of thinking and approaching everyday stresses, aches, and pains, so
Mm.
that they understand that their lifestyle inherent, they're not medical conditions, and therefore they should be treated with
Sure.
holistic, natural
Mm.
remedies,
Mm.
and not medical treatments that really will, you know, um, mask the pain rather than resolve
Yeah.
any potential aches that you have.
Yeah.
It's a long-winded response to your
No,
question.
it's good. It's good. No, it's really good. It sounds almost like it was destined from day one. All the experiences you've had almost line that opening for WholyMe to be birthed by, going through your own personal experience with the herniated disc, to seeing your mother's autoimmune disease, and then obviously clearly from studying in the sciences, knowing the dangers of over-the-counter medication, really just led into finding a different way that wasn't harmful, that wasn't addictive, that got straight to the point, actually healed it and not masking it. So talk to us about that then. How did you go about researching and starting WholyMe?
Well, it was really about finding ingredients in nature that are that have soothing properties, that have clinical evidence to back their soothing properties, relieving
Mm,
properties.
mm,
So I did a lot of research on, and I think that's also where my scientific education
yeah.
came super handy, because I
Mm,
knew where to look for scientific evidence, what
yeah.
scientific evidence is legitimate, and
Mm,
what you can trust, what you can't
mm,
trust,
mm,
and that really helped me find and narrow down ingredients that to me were thoroughly studied and were backed by clinical evidence, scientific evidence, but also backed by historical traditional use in certain
mm,
countries, and also very much, you look at all the reviews and everything that people say online. I mean, that's a clinical study on its own.
mm,
So
mm,
it's combining sort of what are people saying about it, what's the scientific data supporting what people are saying, and then historically what has been used traditionally, and
sure.
combining all of that to talking with real experts in the field. I started talking with naturopaths and aromatherapy experts, with everyone, just to sort of um, hone down on the key ingredients that I had found. So I sort of started with a lot of information and
Sure.
just went through it all, deciding which ones I felt were really strong and thorough. And then that allowed me to start formulating things and mixing things and sort of coming up with my own proprietary formulas. Which actually, my very first formula, which is for my today, it's the Relief Balm, which you
Okay.
apply for joint aches.
Okay.
I actually had done that for my mother originally. It was really
Wow.
just to help her. It was not at all for a startup. I was working at the Mishkani Hair Center. I was perfectly
Yep.
happy there.
Yep.
But seeing her, going through a flare up, I just wanted to find something that would be helpful in any form.
Sure.
and
Sure.
and so I helped her with a more holistic approach to health, so like adjusting her diet and little exercises and little supplements and this and
mm,
that, and then these
mm,
formulas, and I saw that it actually helped her a lot, and she really enjoyed having that. And then
mm,
I used it for myself, for my back,
mm.
and then it sort of spread word of mouth. I started having friends asking about it, and I started just sharing with people, and it's sort of happened. I was like, it
Yeah,
works,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
think there's a need, and there's a demand, and there's a gap, and I've always had an entrepreneurial fiber, just
Okay,
because my family has always been entrepreneurial. My
sure,
parents
sure.
had their own business, and so
Mm,
we moved from city to city
yeah,
and had the roller coasters that come with an entrepreneurial life. And my sister had her own company, and then my other sister had her own company. So um, it wasn't a scary thing for me to do. It just made sense, and it happened, and
yeah,
so it just felt like, it's like you say, it was very much meant to be.
sure, yeah. And when you started doing the research and started looking into it and all the scientific, was there anyone else doing what you were doing, or was it very much a very open market? Um, and could you use those other companies and other people, like you said about looking at the aromath, whatever the word was? um,
Aromatherapy.
yeah. Yeah, so how much was there out there, or was it very much you just having to read through these journal articles and papers and just finding what works and what didn't work from historical, and just sort of finding your own thing?
I guess it's a combination of things.
Mm,
Um, you have these ingredients. I didn't invent ingredients. These
mm,
ingredients were used for relieving soothing property. I guess in a way these ingredients were used, and then I did my own formula, so they're special to me. But
mm,
um, I think what I noticed is there isn't really a company that whose sole mission is to help people take a more holistic approach to everyday aches and pains.
mm,
And I guess the gap that, and there are plenty of aromatherapy brands, natural brands,
sure.
that try to do a lot, and are great too. I'm not against them, but I feel like the entry point for me was witnessing that too many people turn to over the counter
Yep.
painkillers
Mm,
and other medical solutions for issues that are actually inherent to their lifestyle.
mm,
And WholyMe is trying to be a different response to this problem. And that specific angle with our formulas addressing these specific needs, I think are quite unique.
yeah. And obviously you have your own products, and obviously you talk about the holistic approach. What else do you feel goes into the holistic approach? Because obviously just these products, they will do something, but you talked about the nutrition, the rest, the exercises. How much, like percentage wise, does each of those areas, the actual products, the nutrition, the exercise, make up to make the perfect holistic therapy?
Honestly, I think a holistic approach is understanding that, as you say, it's not a single element on its own. It's a lot of different elements that make the whole, and
Mm,
understanding that we are extremely complex beings,
mm,
and everything in nature is complex on its own.
sure.
It's about finding that equilibrium. And it is absolutely fundamental to do all of them together. So,
Mm,
you know, if you have an ache or a pain, I'll never say, take the balm and that's all you'll ever need
yep.
and that's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
that's naive to think that way.
Sure.
When you encourage a holistic approach, it's also movement is incredibly important
Yeah.
to the notion of pain. And it's counterintuitive because a lot
Mm,
of people who are in pain or even in chronic pain will think that movement is too difficult and they don't want to move. But actually, you kind of have to force yourself into these movements, or have a physiotherapist or an expert to help you,
sure.
guide you so you make the right movements.
Yep.
But movement will relieve that pain, and actually, immobility is going to make it worse.
Yep.
So everything is a whole. And then, if you are moving and you are using the right products, but you're eating very poorly, you're not
Yep.
doing yourself any favor. So
Yep.
And even if you are taking, medical treatments and you're doing everything your doctor is telling you to do, but you're not eating the right foods and you're not doing the right exercises, then your treatment is not going to be that successful.
Sure.
So I think it's the importance of taking the whole individual
Mm.
is fundamental,
Sure.
um, especially in the area of pain, because what I feel is pain is extremely misunderstood. Doctors, um, if they can't, a lot of doctors, not all doctors, but a lot of doctors, if they can't associate a physiological problem with the level of pain you're expressing,
Mm.
then it's sort of dismissed as something that's in your head.
Yep.
But pain is not a medical ailment. It's an extremely complex mechanism in your
Sure.
body, and to me it's an alarm system.
Yep.
It's an alarm system that your body is signaling,
Yep.
asking you to pay attention.
Yep. Yep.
So with our balm, what we always encourage people to do with this product is, if it's your elbow that after tennis or whatever is
Yep.
hurting you, then apply the balm.
Yep.
But there's already a lot of studies that demonstrate the power of touch. And that's
Okay.
extremely powerful on its own. And so you're doing you're giving your body the attention it is asking you to give
Yep.
by
Yep.
signaling pain. And you're combining that with evidence-based potent ingredients that are completely natural and will never compromise your long-term health. That's maximizing your chances of
Mm.
relieving your pain.
Mm.
And you do that. And so that's what we aim to do with WholyMe. We give you the best of nature, but we encourage you to use that in a holistic, mindful way. So if you're taking, our CBD drops, it's also about taking a minute for yourself, letting it absorb through your
Mm.
salivary glands under
Mm.
your tongue. Do nothing for that 1 minute. It's sort of like a meditation minute.
Sure.
Give your brain some space and let
Mm.
nature work its magic.
Sure.
Taking a bath is extremely holistic as well. It's giving
Mm.
yourself time. It's all about carving time to take care of yourself and using these products to enhance your recovery and your self-care routine,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. No. Look, I agree. I think it's all humans these days, and a lot of people always want quick solutions. Hence why they turn to over the counter painkillers, instance, because life is so fast paced. And I think that's why, in a sense, I know this pandemic's been pretty crazy. It's also been probably quite good for a lot of people because it slowed people down. And as you say, being able to give yourself time, because we're so important about doing our routines and, earning the money and doing our exercise. But then obviously when we get a niggle, right, I want to get back on the court, or I want to get back to doing my job of whatever it is, and so I'll pop this, mask the pain, but it doesn't go.
Mm,
But then you can, actually instead, no, we need to listen to our bodies.
mm.
It's saying it's pain, put the thing on, give time. So yeah, no, I totally agree. How long does the process take then to make from the actual plants? You get all the ingredients together from the actual ground to the bottle. How long does that process take? And are you involved in that, or do you have other people that mix your products for you?
So I do the formulas myself, and then I choose all my suppliers directly. So I do have full control over the supply chain,
Okay.
but I don't manufacture them myself. I'll visit the labs, make sure everything is going
Sure.
smoothly. But it's a bit of a complicated question because you have the harvesting season. All our ingredients are organic or natural, so they're really sourced, um, in from the ground, and they're all certified. So we're not using any chemicals
Mm.
in harvesting season and production, etc. But we mass produce, so it will last us a long time, and then we're able to harvest again and reproduce. But I guess, I would say and it depends on which product, but
Sure.
I think on average it takes a good 3-4 months to
Okay.
manufacture a batch.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And obviously you've talked about your uh, balm, but obviously you've got more products. Talk to us about the other products that you've got and the benefits of each of those, and why one would use the rest of those products.
So the balm I told you, it's really for this is the balm. It's for joint pain,
Yeah.
and I always have it by my desk because especially now that I'm working from home, I get
Yep.
stiff like neck
Yep.
and shoulder. So
Yep.
from like in between emails or whatever, I'll take like a pea-sized amount and just sort of like massage it away so
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
pain goes. And it's weird because it's, I don't know if you get this, but for me it's particularly on the right side because I guess I'm more on my mouse on this side.
Yeah. That
So
makes
I
sense. Yeah.
feel like I have more aches on this side of my neck, so I
Okay.
tend to just rub it more there.
Sure. Sure.
But anyway, it's also good for like if I go running, I'll apply
Yep.
it to my knees.
Yep.
If I, yeah, it might be my lower back sometimes still hurts, so I'll apply it. I just a pea-sized amount. I'll
Yep.
massage it until it's fully absorbed, and so I mean that will last a fairly long time if you're only using it that way and you're using it daily. And then
And
I
what ingredients do you have in that balm?
Oh, it's beautiful ingredients.
Okay.
It has 12 ingredients.
Wow.
Every single one is certified organic,
Wow.
and the balm is made in France because they have the
Okay.
highest standard of production when it comes to
Okay.
balms and
Yeah. Yeah.
topical
Sure.
production. So you have things like arnica, which is famous for aches and pains. You have eucalyptus, you have
Nice.
frankincense,
Okay. Wow.
helichrysum, juniper. Um, yeah, hemp seed oil,
Okay.
avocado oil,
Okay. Yep.
beeswax because it helps with the
Yep.
absorption.
Yep.
So every single ingredient in the balm serves to relieve
Okay.
and soothe aches and pains.
Yep.
And unless it has evidence for it, we just don't use it. So there's no diluters, there's no preservatives, there's no conservatives, there's absolutely nothing unnecessary in there. That's also why we use this kind of really dark violet glass jar because
Okay.
it will protect the bioavailability of the ingredients.
Sure.
With everything being completely organic, over time it can change in like color and
Okay.
scent.
Okay.
So that's why you usually use preservatives,
Yep.
but that's just because it's so pure and organic.
Yep.
It it's still alive almost,
Sure.
you know.
Sure.
So our jar serves that purpose. It really protects against the UV lights
Okay.
and protects it over time.
Yep.
And so we also have our relief drops, which is
Yep.
CBD.
Okay.
And we worked closely with Professor Mike Barnes to formulate a potent
Okay.
CBD. He's the leading expert in medical cannabis, and
Okay.
he's part of our
Okay.
scientific board of advisory.
Yep.
So our CBD is really rich in terpenes, and there's a lot of research that is focused on terpene science and just the healing properties of terpenes in general. So it has a very strong sort of earthy taste,
Okay.
which is not a lot of people enjoy the taste. Some people do.
Okay.
I do over time now, but it's quite easy to wash it down with water. But it's
Okay.
super effective. So it works within an hour from taking a few drops under your tongue, and you only need
Okay.
about 3 drops. So it works and it
Okay.
lasts a long time.
Okay.
And the balm works within like 15 minutes from
Okay. Wow.
first application. So our products do work really fast. It's not like
Okay.
cures you take and you don't know if they work or not.
Sure.
And then we have our bath salts, which is our
Yep.
latest release. I think
Okay.
it's now been in the market for uh ooh, like 4 months, I think.
Okay.
If
Okay.
I'm not mistaken, 3 or
Yeah.
4 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's certified natural. It's made here in the UK.
Okay.
Epsom was actually discovered in the town of Epsom in the UK.
Okay. Yep.
So it's magnesium sulfate that's
Yep.
really good for muscle recovery post-exercise, and that's infused with arnica, with hemp seed oil, with eucalyptus, with frankincense. Again, all of these have their own soothing properties, and the oils that we chose for the balm are certified organic, and the
Okay.
salts themselves, because they're mined from the ground, they're natural.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And do you ever find people use all three at one time for something, or do you usually have people that use just the salts, or just the CBD, or just the relief balm, or do they
Honestly,
use?
it varies. I think some of our customers, some of our users, they take the CBD mostly for anxiety and
Okay.
for easing themselves into sleep. So you'll have some that solely need the CBD for that. other people have like really localized pain,
Yep.
sort of like that neck and shoulder lingering,
Yes.
um, not they'll use just the balm, and some people, they don't really have aches, pains, or anxiety. They feel fully holistic and fine without the need for anything. But that sort of like bath recovery post a long run is a lovely
Sure.
self treat, and it feels nice
Yep.
for sore muscles.
Sure.
So they'll only take that. And then, yes, we have people that implement all three into a self care routine, which is
Yep.
really what we encourage because it's
Sure.
part of the self care routine.
Yep.
So, some people will use the balm and the CBD daily and then, take a bath once a week.
Yep. Okay.
So we do offer like bundles on our website that
Okay.
are
Yeah, I've seen. Yep.
at
Seen
discounted
those. Yep.
prices just to
Yep.
encourage people to really use all three products as part of a self care routine.
And do you use all three as part of a self-care?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm actually obsessed with the products. I think
Okay.
I don't take from stock. I have to buy my own stock, so I
Okay.
am like the biggest
Okay.
the biggest user myself.
I love that. That's so good. And talk to me more about the CBD, what that does, because that intrigued me a little bit. What's the benefit for someone that's never really done something but have come across your product, for example, and see the CBD oil and go, okay, why that? What does that do? Why do I need to use it?
That's an interesting question because CBD is actually hugely growing in the
Okay.
market. And a lot of people, I think, a couple of years ago, you said CBD to someone, they wouldn't know what it is. And pretty much everybody knows what CBD is
Yeah.
now. And I think that's a very interesting phenomenon because you're not actually allowed to advertise about CBD. You're not
Okay.
allowed to promote CBD. You're not allowed to put anything on your labels that explain what CBD is or on your website.
Ah.
So it's a very heavily regulated natural ingredient, yet it's booming. So I
Yeah.
think it's a reflection of its efficacy because it grows from word of mouth and it's not pushed by the industry. And people are doing their own research and discovering, the benefits of CBD. Now, of course, with every wave like that, you'll have some people that are going to want to jump in the opportunity of being a CBD manufacturer and producer, wholesaler, and will jump into the industry without
Mm.
any expertise or
Yep.
experience.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that creates a big question mark for people because they'll end up buying CBD, but it's not working at all, and
Mm.
it's not within compliant range,
Yep.
or um, the CBD content is not what it says on the label.
Yep.
So I think that does create quite a lot of skepticism.
Mm.
What I would say CBD is basically, for people who don't know, it works with your endocannabinoid system, which is the management of the homeostasis of your body. So it balances your mood, your feelings of aches, of pains, and everything. So it serves a lot of purpose, which is
Sure.
also confusing for people
Yeah.
because people are going to be like, oh, you have pain, take CBD. You are ill, take CBD. You need
Yeah.
this, take CBD. And so
Yeah.
people are like, what is this? How is this thing good for absolutely everything?
Mm.
I think there's a lot of studies that exist to back the efficacy of CBD for particular things, and then
Yep.
some others are not that backed. Um, to me, for things that are like aches, pains, and I don't know, aches, pains, anxiety, sleep, they're fairly well backed. But I would say that our CBD, we really developed it because of the lack of regulation in
Yeah.
terms of what's actually in the content of the CBD available in the market. And so witnessing how some CBD brands say they have 5%, but actually they have like less than 3% in the container,
Mm.
and all of that sort of made me desire to create a more potent formula that works for everyday use,
Sure.
and which is where Professor Mike Barnes helped us really achieve
Yep.
the dose that's suitable for that. And then we work with a lab, which is really an independent lab. So when I mean independent lab, it means it's not our lab, but they're
Okay.
also, it's a lab that doesn't produce anything. They
Okay.
literally only test, and
Okay.
they're the only ones to be certified for endocannabinoid profile testing, ISO accredited.
Okay.
So we work with them to test all our batches, and
Yep.
then all these batches, the certificates of analysis, are available on our website. So it's
Okay.
super transparent, and you know
Yep.
exactly what's
Sure.
in your CBD beyond just CBD content, all the terpenes that are within it, all the THC level,
Yep. Yep.
because you know it's not compliant to have
Yep.
THC, and then you know the omega oils, the vitamin E, which are naturally derived in
Sure.
the flower.
And what's the optimum level of CBD that is perfect? Because obviously you talk about the percentages. How much is in yours, and what's the optimum do you feel that should be?
So, unfortunately, there is no simple answer to this
Okay.
question,
Okay.
because everybody has different systems,
Yep.
and a lot of people have, you know, slower metabolism, others have faster metabolism, and it might be that, you know, I've had customers that feel like one drop is like a lot for
Yep.
them, and I
Okay.
have others for who 20 drops just about does it.
Okay.
So it just goes to show that it's extremely different from people, from person to person. So what we encourage is for people to start with just 3 drops, do that before meals, and place the drops under your tongue, wait for a whole minute before swallowing, and that allows the CBD to go straight to your bloodstream through your salivary glands, and so you will feel the effects. That it's nothing, it's not like a drug or anything, it's not going
Yeah.
to knock you out, it's not going
Yeah.
to, it's sort of this taking the edge off, you know, it's sort
Okay.
of
Yeah.
soothing, calming in a very subtle kind of way.
Yeah.
So it's helpful in that sense. And I've had like stressful periods where I really take a lot of CBD during those periods because I just need to calm down fast. And then other times where it's more to, I'm not that stressed and I just want to have this soothing sensation, maybe an ache or a pain that I need soothing, and then I'll just take less. So you know, everybody should start with 3 drops, the way I said, and then see how that works for them, and then they can increase the dose if to understand the level that works for them, essentially.
Sure. But do you have the concern that it could become addictive for people, that they rely solely on that when they get stressed, or is that the whole point of the holistic approach, that they
No,
don't
it's
become?
non-addictive. So CBD is not addictive. It doesn't. You don't get. I forgot the word for it, but you don't get. You don't build tolerance. Sorry, I lost
Okay.
my.
That's okay. That's okay.
You
That's
don't build
fine.
tolerance for it. You don't. It's non-addictive. There's no harm, no side effects, no compromise on your long-term health. I mean, it just doesn't taste very nice.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. And where do you go from here? Have you got any products in the works that you're looking to expand your range, areas that you want to go into? What does the future hold? Because obviously, I see you've got a few ex-Olympic athletes on your
Yeah.
thing that use it. Any areas of the sporting world, or any products that you're looking to really start to develop? What does sort of, this year sort of hold, and how you're looking to develop and take WholyMe to the next level?
Yeah, we listen really closely to what our consumers are asking for and what they're saying, and then using the ingredients that we know the virtues of to integrate into people's needs.
Sure.
So we do have a few products that I'm very excited to launch, but it
Okay.
won't be for a little while.
Sure. Sure.
So maybe in the next 6 months, you'll see
Okay.
another product come
Okay.
to
Okay.
market that we're working on developing right now.
Okay.
So there are quite a lot of products in the making. But I think for WholyMe, in terms of long-term vision, it's always going to be about encouraging holistic health and bringing, solutions that really help with lifestyle inherent stresses and peaks, our approach to pain in general. And so that taking that thread through to the end, it could be anything. We could
Mm,
develop, you know, gadgets that sort of track um, how your natural health is doing, and
sure.
measuring certain things that actually matter in terms of your inflammatory conditions, or inflammatory markers in your bloodstream and things like that, so that you can help yourself before reaching any actual ailment. So
Sure.
it might take a different direction. It might
Sure.
require more than just products, but it's always going to be with this mission in mind.
Sure. Sure. And sort of one of the last sort of questions was how's the pandemic affected WholyMe? How have you found this whole period for a business perspective, and obviously for yourself personally? How's it been?
Again, that's an interesting question, because I don't really have a pre-pandemic to talk about, because Holy
Sure.
Me really launched our very first product in last June.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
we've only really been in the
Yeah.
market for 7 months.
Wow. Okay.
So we launched. We're almost like a pandemic baby.
Okay. Yeah.
um, so we launched in the pandemic. It
Wow.
slowed our launch down, because we
Yeah.
were working on our production and everything before um, the first lockdown, and then things sort of were paused until the labs could reopen and
Sure.
manufacturing could start again.
Sure.
So it slowed things down, and it did force us to. We've always wanted to be a direct to consumer brand, but it did force us to hone down on that strategy, because
Sure.
we also always said we would be omni-channel and be in retail and everything, and all of that. Retail's obviously suffering right now.
Sure.
So we've honed our efforts on online online marketing,
Yep. Yep.
online e-com strategy. We are in a few pharmacies in London,
Oh wow. Okay.
are doing fairly well.
Cool.
But I would also say that if anything, it was helpful, because
Sure.
people, you already could see a shift in consumer behavior towards more holistic health, towards
Yep.
organic
Yep.
remedies. You could already witness this before, but I think
Sure.
it really was fast tracked by COVID.
Yep.
People realized that they can't just rely on their doctors for
No.
everything, because with a pandemic they just didn't
Sure.
have the capacity anymore.
Sure.
So
Sure.
people were starting to look for alternative solutions to just care for themselves and take charge of their own health and
Mm,
well-being.
mm.
And then beyond that, I think it just sort of woke people up
Yep.
to the importance of health, of self-care. And in that sense, it raised interest in our products, so that they could never, I mean, they're more relevant than ever now.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. No. I'm really interested in that. Really interesting. No, it's been really good. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting. Before we finish, if you're up for it, there's always I have a little quick fire round. If you're up for that,
What's
sound
up?
good? So just like little funny questions, just quick
Sure,
answers.
of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So question one is milk or dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
Okay, that's a very common answer. I'm actually getting into dark chocolate. I tried it for the first time, and I actually quite
I,
like it.
I
I can see
actually
why people like it. I can
I
see.
actually think a few years ago I would have said, but the thing is, I'm not into chocolate at all. I don't
Okay.
like sweet things.
Okay. Fair enough.
But so a few years ago I would have been like, yeah, neither. But I'm starting to kind of like dark chocolate now.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Well, question two is if you could live in another decade or era, which would it be?
Um, oh, that's a very difficult one. Uh, I'll answer an emotional one that comes up to my mind right now. But probably like the early 70s back in Iran, before it went through all the revolution
Yeah,
and the glorious years of my origins.
I
I would
like
have
that.
liked
No, fair enough. I like that. Okay. You're hosting a dinner party, and you can have three people at your dinner table, dead or alive. Who would be at your dinner table?
that. I would have Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Um, I would have Hussein Bolt. I think he's
Okay.
super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Good one.
And it's a very weird mix, but I would have the Shah of Iran too.
Okay. Nice. I like it. Very good. Well, the movie of your life is coming out. who would play Celine in the movie of your life? Who
Who
would you
would
like?
play me in the movie of my life?
Who would you like to portray you? Yes.
My sister Caroline. She's an actress
Okay.
in LA.
Oh
So
wow,
her.
that's amazing. Fair enough. Very cool. Currently, what are your favorite TV shows, past or present, that you like watching?
My favorite TV shows. I mean, honestly, you probably get this a lot, but I can never get over Friends.
Okay.
It's always a mood booster, and
Okay.
anytime you just need something to make you
Yep.
laugh, you put them
Yep.
on, and when you grew up with them, it just
Sure.
makes you feel like you're home. So
Sure.
always
Sure.
Friends.
Fair enough. No, I like that. Good answer. And the last one is, what are your top three songs on your music playlist at the moment?
Oh no, you're not. You're not gonna want to know that.
Okay.
I have a bunch of like really old traditional Persian music.
Okay. Nice. Wow.
Persian
Okay.
music at the time
Okay.
at the moment that I listen to a
Okay.
lot. So
That's nice. It's different. That's very different. I like that. That's different. That's cool. That's really good. Oh, brilliant. Well, Celine, thank you so much again for coming on and sharing. And obviously, before we wrap it up, how can people go and check you out on social medias, look at your products, your website? Do you have anything?
yes, thank you. Of course, we're always available for answering any questions or anything, whether
Mm,
that's on our Facebook, on Instagram. We have a number on all our packaging, so people are always welcome to reach out to us.
brilliant.
And the website just wholyme.com.
Brilliant. Guys, go and check that out. Go and if you need anything, go and check it out. It looks great stuff, and they are going to go great places. Really, really good. Well, I'll just leave you to with the floor to give our listeners your biggest piece of advice.
My biggest piece of advice, I would say, is just follow your dreams. Do what your gut tells you to do. It's probably the right thing to do, and trust yourself. You only have this one life, so live
Mm,
it fully and wholly, and be crazy and take risks. It's the best thing you can do.
yeah,
And do take time for yourself, because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that's going to enable you to perform to your maximum.
well said. Celine, thank you very much again. Been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a
No,
pleasure.
no worries. Thank you. Well, that's it. There you go. A fantastic interview there with Celine, for the founder of WholyMe. Really interesting. Go and check out her website and her products, and they look awesome. I'm going to go and check them out for sure, and definitely look at purchasing some of those because they look fantastic and definitely will help you in any form, not just in sport, but in everyday life. But that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please share this with anyone that you feel will find this useful. But until then, I will see you same time, same place next week, Friday, 2 p.m. But until then, this has been the Reborn Fitness Podcast. I've been your host, Timothy Horn. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great weekend and see you all next Friday. Thanks for listening and bye for now.